Hello everyone and welcome back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla with me, Longclawvalhalla and Steel, where we always deliver. Ivor is up in the very far north helping out Halfdan Ragnarson, the oldest son of Ragnar Lothbrook, and his man Faravid is being attacked by the Picts, the Scottish warriors, and Halfdan has just turned up at the last minute to rescue us. This is one of my final story arcs. I'm way up in the north of the map. Things have got pretty interesting up to this point, and this one I've been looking forward to. Please check out the channel for the rest of the content, and let's see if we can get another alliance for Ravensthorpe. Let's get into it. So throughout all of the other story arcs, I keep hearing Halfdan Ragnarson, the oldest son of Ragnar Lothbrok's name being mentioned. Of course, I've interacted with some of his brothers in the earlier story arcs, but here I am in Doncaster at his stronghold, and he was an impressive man when I just saw him on the mountaintop, and now I'm travelling to meet him. He asked me to come here. Ivor was summoned once again because there's an issue that Halfdan has become concerned about. He's a very paranoid man, and he's convinced that one of his leading men, one of his strong warriors, is trying to betray him and maybe even trying to kill him. And Ivor's got a bit of a reputation for this kind of detective stuff, and that's another level of intrigue that adds a bit of excitement to the game. When we get there, you can see that King Richie is paying tribute to Ivor, and it just reminds you that Halfdan is actually King Richie's his liege lord, and that King Richie actually is a puppet king that has been installed on the throne by Halfdan. And really, the Halfdan rules in the whole of Northumbria and the north. Faravid is his staunchest companion and warrior, old friends, and you see him here handing Halfdan a goblet. Right away he dismisses it. Halfdan's not been well. He takes a daily tonic which is mixed by one of his sort of mage nurses, and he explains, when you get a bit of privacy, that he is convinced that Faravid is trying to kill him, and that he is a man that is riddled with treachery, and he wants me to root out this treachery and figure out exactly what is going on. So I travel to meet Faravid and his men in a camp east of Doncaster, and whilst he's initially concerned about why I'm here, there's an immediate altercation with one of his men, Ulf, who says that I shouldn't have come and that I should go home. And I think that's a line of inquiry for me. Is it perhaps not Faravid and maybe one of his men that is treachery? But what this is all about, I'm getting the impression as I listen to the dialogue, it's all about treasure and the distribution of the wealth when the Vikings take on. Everything should go to Halfdan because he's the liege lord in the area, and some of these lower Vikings and lesser warriors don't like the fact that they have to give up a large percentage of their take and their yield to their liege lord. We're chasing a band of Pict warriors, and the Picts are Scottish warriors, very fierce fighters, because this is bordering on what was then the Scottish Highlands. And you need to try to take out the scouts before they get to this stronghold, and then enter into the stronghold and take out any guards that you come across. It's not particularly aggressive, they're not even aware I'm there. And then make your way through the outer areas of the stronghold into the central tower where there is a Pict chief, and just bring him back to the rest of your men. There was not even a boss fight involved here. As soon as I got into the central tower, I was able to jump down and stealth attack him. I'm not sure if that is the same for everyone, but it was very easy. And as soon as you do attack him, a stealth attack, I guess I could have had a bit of a fight, and then you will get this cutscene where you drag him outside. Right away, Faravid, without even listening to what this guy's got to say, just kills him on the spot, showing me that he's only interested in the cachet of goods that these Picts had in their stronghold. Now, these may have belonged to the Vikings and Faravid in particular, but this is all about showing us that Faravid is responsible for a large amount of Viking wealth, and he is not sharing all of that with Halfdan. He and his men take a much larger share than they are entitled to, and the Viking rule is very clear. It should go, the lion's share of all of the stuff should go directly to Halfdan. I'm trying to trick Faravid here because I'm a bit concerned about these allegations of poison, that maybe you could open that cask that you're going to send to Halfdan and let's drink it together just to see. And actually he does open it and we do get a drink together. I need to report all of this back to Halfdan, so Ivor heads back to the castle and we see him drinking his daily potion here, and I think another line of inquiry is opened up. What's in that potion that he takes every day, and who is this Moira, and can we trust her? So Halfdan agrees that I can investigate that, and I head off to where she lives out in the woods, and when I get to her cottage I discover that she is being besieged and beset upon by the local townspeople. See, they don't like the fact that there's a witch in the woods and they want to root her out and burn her to death. So of course it involves a little bit of a scuffle, and you have the choice to either kill them all or kill one or two of them, but just get them to clear off and then interact with her. It's a very short scene, and you really ask one or two questions about what exactly goes into this tonic that she's feeding Halfdan, and she explains it's just herbs, and she even drinks the tonic herself. So at this stage I think I'm reasonably well convinced that she's not trying to poison Halfdan, and I then agree to meet with him out in the lands that he's responsible for, interacting with one of his scouts who has reported that some of his men and some of his treasure has been taken. So we're looking for a particular scout who reported and asked for Halfdan's help, and when I find him he's unconscious, and it's dragging back to Halfdan. Ivor can carry over his shoulder whilst jumping, it's very handy, so jump all the way back, and then the dog will get a scent and run off. And now we're chasing clues, a scent to where the treasure may have been, a cache of treasure may have been stored or left. We're not sure at this stage who actually put it there or who it belongs to, but Ivor is essentially helping Halfdan realise here that someone in his group of warriors is in fact being untrustworthy. When you get to where the treasure is stored, you need to find a way in and through the ground, under the water, and then you can let Halfdan come through by throwing a cask of oil that's on fire through the door, the sealed wall, and then together you will discover a table full of a cache of treasure, which Halfdan recognises this as the treasure that should have come to him, in fact treasure that they'd already taken. So he's now convinced that there is some foul play, and outside we hear the voices of some guards, and when we go out Ulf arrives with some of his men, and there's a choice here for Ivor to make. Does he explain that Faravid has plans to make an attack without informing his liege lord Halfdan, and was there anybody on the take here? Was anybody trying to dip their hands into Halfdan's goods? And he chooses, I will choose a diplomatic route here, allowing to see what Ulf will say. And Ulf does admit, holds his hands up, yeah, this is exactly what Faravid gave me, this treasure, it's our share and I'm not going to give it up. And even when he's given the chance to say, okay, take it, it's yours, I should have, it's not my fault, I just follow my superior, he basically refuses, and right away he gets the hammer. You don't get to see anything, but it's a grisly death, a grisly way to go, a warhammer down on his head. Halfdan is a man that will not suffer fools. And then he instructs me to head back and interact with Faravid, and I inform him what happened to Ulf, and this should shake him, but no, he's already had a few drinks, and he explains that in this camp there was a massive cache of treasure which he has now uncovered and intends to use this to fund an attack on the Pick Fortress. He hasn't actually informed Halfdan that this is what he's going to do, and in fact, more than that, he wants to go and instruct King Rishi that he should also put up his Fjord, which is his peasant army, to help. So the two of them will go and attack the Pick Fortress, cutting out Halfdan and allowing them to both take the glory and the wealth. Now at this point, Ivor is just observing and not really involving himself, but again playing that diplomacy role, and we follow through, and even going as far as forging a letter that gives permission. Now whichever choice you choose, should you agree that Halfdan knows about it or should you not, you still have to go and get a letter from Ulf, from your friend Ori, and he will forge the letter. But even then, only then, does King Richie agree that he will put his men up. But even then, he's still acting very strange and suspicious, and I'm starting to get concerns that there may be foul play from him. But nevertheless, we amass our forces and appear in front of the Pick Fortress, and we are going to take it down. But before we even make a move, Halfdan arrives. You see, he has been made aware of this, and not through your choice, but he is aware, and I don't know whether King Rishi told him or whatever, but he turns up, immediately pointing the finger at Faravid. Why are you here? Why have you amassed this force without my authorization? Faravid rounds on Ivor, and Ivor has a choice. You either say how dare you, or you say calm down everyone, let's just take it easy, we're here to fight this army, let's get on with it. And I think that even Lufwana, your friend, agrees that that is the smart move. We're all here for one reason, so let's clear out these picks and we can worry about who's treachery and who's betraying afterwards. But there is one more level of deceit which no one was prepared for. As we go to interact with the envoys who have come out of the castle, this is a last chance to sue for peace and agree terms before a battle will commence. After a few words, it seems that King Rishi has already decided to betray his liege lord. He's unhappy being a puppet king and has decided to cast an alliance with the Pick warriors, which means his Fjord and his warriors will now be fighting against the Vikings and Halfdan and myself and our warriors. Immediately Halfdan throws the axe, which signifies the beginning of the battle, and this is a fortress battle a little different. It's more about clearing out purely the group of aggressors and your adversaries inside the castle. There's a huge number of them outside, so I spent quite a bit of time clearing those out, and then you get inside, drop the ladders, let everybody through, get rid of the palisades and take out the big number of guards, and that's it. There is no boss fight or anything at this stage. Halfdan is happy, he's got his victory, but King Rishi is escaping and Ivor needs to chase him down, and it's not much of a fight. I threw an arrow in his back and a couple of swipes and he was down, and it was a pretty pathetic death. And then it's back to Eurvicshire, where Halfdan will take the crown. No more puppet kings for him. He's decided he wants to rule in his own name. And I think this is a wise move for Halfdan, because he cannot trust anybody, and the alliance with the Saxons is really, it's born of blood, and it's never going to be sacred. Halfdan has a coughing fit and drops his gauntlet that he's drinking out, or his goblet, sorry, and immediately I pass it to Moira and ask her to inspect the metal, and she confirms that it's lead, and lead is a poisonous, it will slowly poison you, and this, it seems, is the source of his illness. He blames Faravid for continuously giving him these goblets. Every time he takes a castle, he gives him another goblet. Now, is Faravid innocent, or is he in fact guilty? It doesn't really matter. The point is, you want your alliance or not, because if you choose to not follow Halfdan's instructions, you will lose your alliance, probably the most powerful alliance you could have gained. And if you don't, you will end up getting a friend in Faravid. it was an easy decision to make. The boss fight with Tharadid is quite hard. He's quite a big fighter and he can move around, but he doesn't have any magic powers. So use your close attack and then let his grisly demise come about. Halfdan seems broken after killing one of his oldest friends and his most staunch warriors. And the final word I give him is that I do hope you will write. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. We're getting pretty close now to the conclusion, and I'm getting very excited about the next story arc. I'll be back with another video very soon.